There it is. Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to see each and every one of you. We have some exciting information to share with you, and we also have some exciting celebrations that we're going to do after we present the budget. So again, thank you for coming. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and just dive on into what we're going to cover today. I want to start by just sharing with you that our vision here in Jasper County School District is to create today's learners for tomorrow's leaders. And all of our supporters, you know that the work we do every day, you're expecting us to prepare students so that they can be productive citizens. And those that are here today who have always supported, and those that have already asked to support it, I need to pause. Good to see you, Mayor. Our honorable mayor is here. Thank you so much for being here as well. So we want to make sure that our students are leaders and productive citizens whenever they leave Jasper County. Our mission is to cultivate an environment of excellence through innovation, inspiration, opportunities, and partnership with the community. And notice that word partnership. We want to partner with you because we can't do the work alone. There's a chart that I've shared in the past, and it had the student in the middle, but it had the school, it had the community, it had churches, it had everyone, because there should be a village ensuring that our students are successful. So again, partnerships are critical for the success of the district. There are 3 priorities for those that are first timers. Whenever we arrived at the beginning of this school year, which was around August, we surveyed staff, we sent a survey to parents, and then we started asking, what are the strengths of the district? What are the needs of the district? How can we improve? What are the things that we need to focus on? But based on that feedback, we came up with 3 district priorities, 3 goals. The first one is safety. We want to make sure all students and our staff are able to work in a safe environment. The second one, quality education. The state's goal is that 75% of all students meet or exceed on those state assessments. And right now we are a long ways off, but we're making progress. But that is the goal by 2030, 75% meets or exceeds. And then our third goal is to restore trust across the district. How do we do that? By involving our stakeholders, involving everyone so that they have a voice as we operate in the district, as we decide how we're going to spend our funds. We value your input, even for our federal funds. There will be a meeting where we talk about Title I, Title II, all those federal funds, because we are required to involve parents and stakeholders in that process on how do we expend these funds for the best interest of the students we serve. So everything that we do is all about the students that we serve. So here I'm going to just share some of the things that are, I gotta go the right way. Some of the things that I want to share briefly. Looks like I'm going through the entire presentation here. Some things that I want to share. Shelton, I need your help again. For those that are following along, on the next page, I have information about budget priorities. So first of all, I want you to know that when we started working on this budget, We met with all principals. We met with our department chairs or department leads, directors. And the question was, what are the needs in your department? What are the needs of your department? And these needs are based on supporting students. What do we still need in order to improve the outcomes of our students? Thank you. Which, am I doing this one? Okay, thank you. So with that in mind, our priorities, we also wanted to make sure our priorities align with our budget. If we're saying safety is important, quality education, transparency, making sure we have systems and processes in place, then we want to make sure that our budget aligns with that. So some of the items that was shared with us, we have academic coach for our ML. You may not know our multilingual population. We have 67% in certain areas, but it's very high, it's 60+%. And because of that, we have to make sure that we have activities and strategies in place to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all students. Because again, the goal is all students. We have in the budget reorganized special ed so that we look at our needs there. We may end up needing an additional teacher. What would that look like? We may need certain support staff or contract services. So some of the items are general here, but these are items that will kind of lead some of the activities that you'll see whenever Jatana comes up and share the budget. But these are some of the items that we're focused on. Social worker, mental health. We all know and have heard in certain places that there are a lot of our students faced with a lot of challenges, social and emotional challenges. We all hear it all the time, and you know, sadly, we sometimes have young adults who decide to end their lives or they feel like they are not important. Having our mental health and social workers in place and to help our students to know that and receive that support they need. We're very intentional about making sure we provide wraparound services so that whatever our students may need, that we're supporting that. We have here student and academic support administrators. Since COVID, and Jasper is not alone in this, but since COVID, there's been a number of students that we still have. We've always had to track students and keep up with them for grad grades. But whenever COVID hit, there are a lot of students who were displaced for one reason or another. As you know, there were a lot of deaths during that time. And sometimes, for one reason or another, students may had to leave and go live in another state. Just a number of reasons, a number of things that could have occurred. But a lot of times we don't know that until we can have someone out there trying to see why students are not here. Some students are here and they may not be attending school like they should. They're truant. So we have folks in place who they go out and they look for students, particularly if we see a pattern of absenteeism 3 or more days, because that's a sign that something is going on, and sometimes it's medical, but there are other times when it may not be, but we have folks in place for that as well. This is just a reason why we needed more social workers as well as mental health support. When you look at the amount of referrals that this is, I'm not sure which month, but I think it was as of, from the beginning of the year up to probably April for this data. And if you look at the disruptions in our core content classes, like English, science, social studies, math, transition, the system we have, anytime referrals occur in whatever class, we're able to track the time of day, the class that it may have occurred in, and sometimes it's not in the classroom, it may be in the cafeteria, but we're able to track that information. But if you look here at English, these are disruptions. If you have this kind of number of disruptions in the classroom, these disruptions interrupt what? Learning and instruction. And because we want to provide every student with a quality education, we cannot allow disruptions. So with that being said, that is why we're getting these additional staff to support those that may need it. Because we want to make sure students are able to focus, that they're able to pay attention in class and get their work done without these extra disruptions. So that's some of the reason here, and I just wanted to share some of this data with you, but this is a lot of referrals. And this one is, it says at 2 p.m., look at 1 p.m. A lot of it is right after lunch, or right after they've had that break and they are back in to learn, and sometimes it may be a little challenging to get some of them settled. But this is why we've got to have the additional staff in place. One of the things that we started in January, and and then student, we started, it probably was toward the end of February, but we started a program called Beyond the Bell. And the purpose of Beyond the Bell was to be able to provide additional tutoring for students who were already struggling with skills, or students who, from the previous assessments, were already falling behind. So we started the Beyond the Bell so that they could come and get that additional assistance in a small group setting. So we kept the classes less. We wanted all classes to be 10 or less. And I think most of them were 10 or less. And they worked on math skills and reading skills. Now, if the teacher said, okay, I really need to work with this student on science, that was okay too, but that was our focus, math and reading. And just last week, we had a celebration where we recognized the students that attended. And if I'm not mistaken, there were a total of about 500 kids that attended the Beyond the Bell. That was great. And parents, another thing that shows is that you want the best for your child as well. So when we give you these opportunities to send students or your scholar to these after-school programs to get that additional tutoring, it is because we want them to be very successful. And that is why we do the extra. And then student is an academic intervention that we do during the school day. Again, we were late starting this, but it involves academics as well as motivation. And students, again, they work on programs that are generated by IA. They work on skills. They first take a pre-assessment. The pre-assessment identifies the areas that they are weak in, and it also identifies their grade level that they're functioning on. So, for example, they may be a 5th grader, but they may be functioning at a 4th grade level or a 3rd grade. But they may be strong in reading, and they may be on grade level. But in math, as a 5th grader, I may still need to master adding fractions or multiplying or dividing fractions. With student, it will identify the areas that they were weak in, and it will set them up on a pathway, and it will support those areas that they're weak in. So that it's supposed to help students fill that gap to try to get them back on grade level. So we started that, but it was late when we started this program. This is a program that's being used in several states. I actually went and saw it in action in Texas, but they are using it in other states. But right now in South Carolina, Jasper and one additional district are the only users of this program right now. So we're excited that when we start the new year, we plan to start our after-school program early, and we also plan to start student early at the beginning of the school year. I think just based on the recognitions that where students, we had some students that grew 20 plus points from the after-school program. We had some students who moved from approaches when they took the assessment as a fourth grader or fifth grader. They scored approaches based on the spring benchmark. They're predicted to score meets, and that's what we want to see. We want to fill those gaps. We want to help them with those on grade level skills, because students, if they're a fifth grader, whether they're functioning on third grade level or not, they're going to have to take on grade level assessment. So that's why we have these programs in place to support students, and again, to improve the academic achievements for all scholars. Some of the other initiatives that we are doing, we started 30 for 30. That means we are expecting students to read 30 minutes every day in school, and then we're asking parents to support and help us by having students read an additional 30 minutes at home. Research shows the more students read, the better readers they become. So that's called 30 for 30. We started that initiative. Since January, we talked about the after-school program that we had a large number of students. It was one-to-one. Another plus, our teachers worked extremely hard to analyze their students' data. And as a result of that, they were able to plan lessons based on those areas of weaknesses to hopefully we'll see a difference in the outcome. Again, everything that we're doing is to improve the outcomes of our scholars. So these slides are just showing that some of the things that we have some of the things that we've done. This is just a slide showing our average daily membership. And I want to make sure I'm not getting into what Jatana is going to come share. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Shelton to make sure that we're where I need to be for Jatana. And at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Jatana if she will come forward and share our budget, because I know that you're just waiting to hear how are we planning to expend our funds for this coming year. I can tell you, Ms. Jatana and her team, they have been working extremely hard. We're pleased to announce that the 22-23 budget, let me back up just a minute while Mr. Shelton is getting this ready. The state, the takeover took place because we had 3 audits that were not done, financial audits. But we are pleased to say that Jatana and her team, they have completed the 22-23 financials. And that information is already with the auditors. And I'll let her just kind of give an update on that, and then she'll go into the budget for the upcoming year.
Good evening, it's good to see everybody. I must say, in all my years of finance and budget presentations, this is the most people I've ever seen at one of these, so it's good to see everybody. And I didn't realize this morning when I did my little outfit that I was gonna be color coordinated with a microphone too, so, hey, look at there. So I will start, let me get all the stuff put down here. I will start with a little budget audit update. And as Dr. Hickson said, we've been walking, chewing gum at the same time. So we've been in 25, 26, trying to train and, just retool things. So we've been doing a lot of work there, and the whole district has been involved in that, not just finance. And then at the same time, we've been working to complete the trial balance for the 22-23 audit. So, we have to do that one, and then we roll our balances, and then we'll start on 23-24. So back in February, we submitted the trial balance, which is basically a dump of our general ledger, after we made a lot of adjustments and corrections and all kinds of, reconciled bank statements and all that stuff had to be done. So then the auditors were finishing up other districts' audits. Of course, they've been in tax season, so they have sent some draft financials. So what we do there is we have to look at what's on our ledger, and we have to make sure that that matches what's on their draft financials. So we did find some discrepancies, so we sent those back. And now they're in the testing. So they say, okay, send us the backup for these deposits, because they're specifically looking for things like, did we accrue it, to post it in the right year and all that. So we're in that just kind of grinding part of it. But the good news is we do have draft financials. And so that's a major step forward. So if there's not any questions on that, I'll just move on into the budget. Any questions about the audits? Still a lot of work to do, but hopefully the next one won't be quite as difficult as the first one. Okay, so Mr. Kemp has heard that this will be your third or fourth time hearing this. I told our mayor, I said, I think Mr. Kemp could probably come up and do this budget presentation. So I'd say he knows it backwards and forwards now. So let's just get into it.
I got it.
You don't mind? You got it? Okay, so you're gonna click it for me. Great. So Mr. Shelton's gonna be Vanna White. That's good. So, some of y'all probably too young to know Vanna White. What was she on the Price is Right or whatever? We love Florida. Okay, so anyway. All right. I don't want to turn my back either. So you just heard me speak of the audit. So we only, as far as this slide, this just shows a fund balance history. Now, again, fund balance is not your cash. Fund balance is revenue minus expenditures. It's not your cash in the bank, because we're having to reconcile a lot of these, this fund owes this fund and that type of thing. So I was only comfortable showing you up to fiscal year 23 because I feel very comfortable about the numbers on the ledger through that point in time. I don't feel comfortable about presenting anything past that because they're not audited years, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. So, all right, Vanna.
This should have been the first slide.
Vanna's falling down on the job. So, any questions about fund balance? And y'all feel free to stop me anytime if I'm saying something and you need clarification. All right, so as Dr. Hickson's already shown you this one. Now, at the time we did the slide, we didn't have the 135th day student count submitted to the state. I think we gained, I want to say 100 students, somewhere in that range. So we're a little over 2,800 at this point in time, based on the 135th day. So that's about, you can see the trend. Obviously, it's going up. This is a very fast growing county. So let's go to the next one. All right, and then what this slide is showing, we went the wrong way. Now that's down there. Okay, so what this is showing you is a trend of our general fund budget. Now, this is not all the money that comes into the district, because you just heard Dr. Hickson mention the federal programs, we get state funding. So this is the general fund operating. Now, I want to make something clear, because I know y'all are all kind of sitting here, and I would be too, if I lived in this county. What's this going to cost me? What is this new budget going to cost me as a taxpayer? Well, on operating budgets, anybody heard of Act 388? Because I think this is very important for y'all to know. Act 388, I think it was implemented, it was law in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, somewhere in that ballpark. So Act 388 basically eliminated ad valorem or real estate taxes for residents in this county, in every county in the state. So if you are, you live in Jasper County and you live in your primary residence, you do not pay school operating taxes, okay? You do not pay that. But if you have a second home, or if you have a rental home in this county, you're gonna pay at 6%. So, but if this is your primary residence, you do not pay operating taxes. However, this year was a reassessment year, and so we're still working on some of those rollbacks. We have to stay revenue neutral on anything that was reassessed. But this is showing you the trend. So we go back to 22, 23. You can follow that forward. 25, 26, our budget was 53, operating budget was 53,621, was that 894, 884? Can't see. New glasses, still can't see. And so if you notice, this year, it didn't go up. It actually dropped. So our operating budget dropped this year. So you probably say, well, you just heard Dr. Hickson talk about these different positions and these incentives and all the stuff that we're adding. How are we able to do that? And it goes back to accounting. Using the right fund numbers, using the right accounting codes, because we're fund accounting. Every little fund, general fund, which is general fund, Title I, 371 state funds, they all have their own little silo. They're all their own little accounting system, and they're tied together by due to, due from. Okay? So we were able to remove a lot of things, a lot of expenditures that were coded to the general fund that should have been coded, for example, to our bond accounts, right? So when you take that and it relieves the general fund, then we don't have to increase that to pay for bond-related items when we have bond or capital funds. Does that make sense? So that's how we're able to do that, just proper accounting. And we're finding a lot of things in the audit. Now this current year hasn't been audited, but we're still, remember I said we're walking and chewing gum at the same time? So we're still trying to identify areas now that will help us in the future. Okay? All right, so no questions on that. And we'll go to the next one. Was I supposed to do? There you go. Any questions so far? Do I have any? I see some graduates out here. Do we have anybody going into accounting? Because I want to talk to you if you are. Huh? Okay. Okay, so this is basically the same graph. It's just showing historical increases. We don't have the 26, 27 on there, but when we do, that will show a 0.22%. Now that's on the right hand side of the decimal, 0.22% decrease. So essentially we're staying the same. Okay. All right, just becoming more efficient. A lot of things that we've implemented, a little bit more internal control. It's just making the entire district more efficient. That's where we want to be. So here's our funding sources. You just heard me talk about the silos. So we have state revenue, we have state reimbursements. Now the state reimbursements goes back to that Act 388. So the state is replacing some of that ad valorem taxes on primary residence real estate. So that's where we have tier 1 homestead exemption, tier 2, and tier 3, which is the big amount. But that's where a lot of those are. So state revenue is going to be more like your state aid classrooms, your priority school money, state portion of career and technology, those type things. So, and then the local, so I've got a note of there, local revenue includes no millage increase. We're not asking for a millage increase. We cut the millage last year by 2, I think, Mr. Kemp, but no, we're not asking for additional millage. And then the millage may actually, as I just stated, roll back to stay revenue neutral because of the reassessment. All right, and then we're not requesting to use any fund balance. So, I mean, as we presented, Dr. Hicks and I presented to the state, I mean, I told them this budget was really a pure joy to work on because we're not coming back to the taxpayers and asking for any increase. We can make it work and still provide more resources to the school level, which is what we're all here for. Make sense? Okay. So this is just a pie chart. We can run through this really fast. You can see local revenue by far the biggest slice of the pie. All right. So, and here's a breakdown of expenditures. So most of by far, the lion's share of our budget is salaries and benefits, 38 million. Okay, we're in the people business. We don't make widgets, so we don't have cost of goods and all that. We're in the people business. So that's where our budget should be primarily focused on people. Then we have to maintain, we have to keep the schools clean. We have to have security. That's a big thing. You heard Dr. Hickson talk about the big, I think she calls it the big rocks. Security and safety, that's one of the big rocks. So that should be a big piece of our budget. And then school allocations would be like supplies, athletics, purchase services like consultants, like I'm a consultant. Copier, all those things that you have to have, utilities, all that you have to have to keep the lights on and run schools. So, so that's the breakdown of how we come back to our total budget number. Make sense? Okay. Again, I like pie charts because it just kind of helps you go right to it. So you can see salaries, employee benefits, that blue, that's the biggest part of our budget. We're people business. All right? All right, and then this is where we start to get in a little bit of the meat of things. So this is our teacher salary schedule. This is our proposed teacher salary schedule. So the top number shows you how much we are above the state mandated salary schedule, okay? And a lot of districts I know have front-loaded their baby, I call them baby teachers with 0 experience, one year experience, to try to attract people. And we want to attract people too, but at the same time, we don't want to do that at the risk of not being able to reward our teachers that have higher degrees, our teachers that have been loyal to us and stuck with us, and they have to be the mentors to the baby teachers. So we're trying to spread this out to make sure that everyone is rewarded, not just the brand new people coming in, okay? So that's where we are relative to, so what's in the blue is the state salary schedule required. What's on top is what we are above the state mandated salary schedule for teachers, for certified teachers. Okay? And what we chose to do is add $2,000 per, oh, I'm sorry, yes, ma'am? Can I read the numbers? Mm-hmm. So this is a bachelor's with 0, and I don't know why these numbers aren't showing us, but anyway, we're $1,515 over the state. The state moved to 50,500 this year, we're over that. So if you look at bachelor's with, I think that's 10, let's see, it's good. We're almost 4,100 over that. Okay, year 5. Masters with 12, and now all these are gonna be posted on our website. Once we get through the whole process, all of our salary schedules will be posted on our website. Teachers, mandatory.
And that's going to include all the salaries, from teacher to administration and so on.
Oh, I'm getting to that one.
Have theirs posted.
Yeah, I'm getting to that one, yes, I got good news on that front. So if you look at doctorate with 24 years experience, we're 16,170 over the state requirement. So let's get to the salary schedules, and we're gonna talk about the non-teacher in just a second. All right, so these are just some millage things. I've already mentioned that we're in a reassessment. I don't think the county, we did talk about where we might land on millage with Kim, the CFO of the county, but they won't have their final numbers until, I think she said May 5th, probably tomorrow. So we're just got preliminary numbers on that, but we're still staying at revenue neutral, other than the growth component, which is not reassessed. All right, so we'll go to the next one. All right, whoo, that's tiny. Let me see, I got it. So, yeah, I might need to do that. Glasses or something, no. Oh, there we go, okay. So implementing new salary scales for all positions. So now coming back to you, all positions except teacher scale, which, so basically what we did is in the current salary scales, we've got these big old buckets. And I can't follow them. And it's from 0 to 5 years, you land in this bucket. Or from 6 to 10, you land in this bucket. Well, so what we did is we went in and we said, okay, for every position, we have a vertical axis and a horizontal axis, and every position is stated. Director of Finance, staff accountant 1, Director of Special Ed, Director of ML. So all these positions are listed at their grade level. So I think it starts at 11 for certain positions, and then it goes to 10 and 9. So you can go out there and look for a specific position type and go to that salary schedule and see where it falls. And then the horizontal axis is years of experience. Okay, so now years of experience, we don't have it to the level that the teacher scale, like years of experience with a doctorate. So that's a formula that HR will have to, follow to equate the degree level to years of experience. But the years of experience are very clear. Okay, so it will show you the exact steps. There's no bucket. It's very specific. So we've redone those for every position. Now that will come over into the new budget, and we'll literally have to go in and touch every one of those non-teacher positions to make sure they fall in the right place. But that, we'll audit. My colleague and I are working on that. We'll audit that to make sure everybody's landing in the right place. Yes, ma'am.
2 questions.
Okay.
First, I would like to know, will the positions themselves be allocated based off the title, or will it be allocated based off the number of days that they work? For example, you might have one position and it's like 220. Both.
That will be based on both. So if it's a 220 position, then we'll take that where here's the position, okay? So it's a grade 10, and then here's the years that it falls. So that's going to be the annual amount. We'll take that and get the average, like the daily rate. So it depends. Most of the administrative or the non-teacher are probably 240s, but some of them could be 220s. So, but it still will show you where they fall.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Second question is,
Okay.
where exactly will these be posted?
On the website.
And where exactly will these be posted and when?
Well, I've got to get through all the approvals on the budget. And so once they're all approved, I can't see a whole lot change on salary schedules, can you? Because the state has already seen this and they've approved it. So they will be posted in the same place our teacher salaries, I'm assuming under HR. And who does our website? Is that Mr. Washington? So do you know where all of the salary schedules are posted?
They are posted on the finance page.
On the finance page, okay,
Yes.
probably need to put those in finance and HR, so people
I
can
think
see
they are on both.
on both, perfect,
Yes, ma'am.
then that's where they'll be.
And hopefully by July 1st, because the new school year starts July 1st. Hopefully, that's the deadline, July 1st.
Well, they have to be, because we gotta make our first payroll, so they'll have to already be at that number. Yeah. Okay. All right, any other questions on that? Those are great questions, and thank you for asking. That led me right into my next point. So let's see, the other things that we put in this budget, I know Dr. Hicks has talked about some of them. Let me see, I can probably go, I should have brought my other glasses back here, but I know this about by heart, so. So we put in a bus driver incentive, and again, yeah. So bus driver incentive, again, we did not want to just do a recruitment bonus, because look here, we've had bus drivers that have been very loyal to us all year long, and we want to provide incentives for them. So the way it's going to work is if you are a bus driver or bus driver aide, then if you start with us and you're still here in December, you're going to get a bonus, and it's like a couple $1,000. And then if you stay till the end of the year and you continue to be loyal and you're driving our kids, then you're going to get another bonus. Okay? And I think, let me see, the aides and the bus drivers, so we've got 262,000 in there for bus drivers. So 2250, bus aides, let's see, is 1,500, and bus driver 2250, twice a year if you stay with us. Okay, so if you're a bus driver and you're loyal to this district, you're gonna end up getting about $4,500 bonus if you stick around. Yes, ma'am.
For the sub-drivers as well?
I don't know about the sub-drivers. I haven't considered the sub-driver, but if you're driving, then, you know, we'll have to look at that. I mean, if you're driving, so are you just substituting, one of the bus drivers out?
Everybody.
Well, then, yeah, then you're gonna get.
It sounds like you did it before.
It sounds All right, so that's on our bus drivers. And then, Dr. Hicks had talked to you about the incentive, if teachers raise the needle on their performance, on their students' performance, we're gonna give them an incentive, okay? So teachers can earn incentive by raising their performance levels.
Excuse me, I'm well engaged and I have lots of questions that you carry along.
No, that's fine.
The next question I have is, what exactly would this requirement be? Because I heard with the engagement and they raised the scores, are we looking for exceed in math, or are we looking for approaching exceed in math?
There's a scale, but I'm gonna let Dr. Hickson answer that part, because that's a little bit out of my lane.
So for student achievement, we're looking for students who may have been in approaches, but if you move those students from our scholars from approaches to meets, there's a certain amount they get for that. If they were in the meets category, the goal is to move them to exceeds. If they're in the exceeds category, the goal is to keep them in exceeds so that they don't fall back.
But raise the percentile when it comes to their level of group?
Yeah, we're looking at each individual student. So we're looking at the percentage of students who increase or move from one level to the next. And even our students that are not meets, if we can grow them and they move from not meets to approaches, that's growing students.
Right.
Okay, so the goal is to grow students. Any other questions on that? Okay, thank you.
Y'all are keeping us on our toes tonight. That's good. Yes, we want this engagement. So, and to your question there, that's 462,000, almost $500,000 in the budget for teacher incentives. The ones that raise, rising tide floats all boats. So, that's 462,000 in the budget for teacher incentives. Budget.
And that's only earmarked for teacher incentives.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is. And then we're going to continue the PLCs, and Beyond the Bell, we've got that in here. PLC training, we're going to keep, that's $100,000 personal learning centers, and then 120 for Renaissance training, and then $1 million. We had 268, I think, in the budget this year for Dr. Hickson's program that she created, the Beyond the Veil that you heard her just talk about. We increased that to $1,068,000. So that's from 268 to $1,068,000 for extra not incentives, but stipends for teachers and tutors. Or if you're willing to put in the time with the students, we're willing to pay them. So a lot of opportunities for teachers to really work with students and get extra pay. So let's see, I think that just about covers, the extra things. But I think what we hope you can see is that we're decentralizing, and we're taking the funds that we have access to, and we're pushing those down to the student and teacher level. So we're decentralizing out of the district office and pushing it to where it needs to be, because we exist for students and teachers. And if our budget doesn't reflect that, then we're talking out of both sides of our mouth. Okay? I think our budget reflects that. But the real test is what y'all think. So let's see, Sean, you want to move us to, go back to the next, I'm sorry, I might have. Okay, all right, so again, I said that we're not asking for any use of fund balance. So what could happen that might require fund balance need? Okay, I always like to throw this in here. So we can fill all of our vacancies, bam, at one time. And I mean, that would be great. We could lose funding on the 45th day. So if our student count drops, when they recalculate our funding, we could lose funding on the 45th day, and that's happening. Okay? Expenses could increase due to economic factors. We don't, if anybody here has a crystal ball, I'd love to see it. I sure don't. Okay, and then tax revenues could decrease from our projections. Not likely, but it's possible. Not, it's a fast-growing county, so we get the benefit of all that growth. Okay. Reassessment, as I said, is a revenue neutral proposition for us, but the growth is not. And then unknown expenses could present, things that we just could not, that just came out of the blue. That really hasn't happened to me in 40 years of finance, but it could, and I know it could. We could have a budget crunch. I mean, anybody remember something back in 2008 and 9, the budget crunches? I mean, anything could happen. So, don't anticipate that, but, so your question would be, what if it does? Well, we put contingencies in the budget for things like that. And if we don't have to spend it, guess what happens with that contingency? It rolls back into our fund balance. Okay, so it just continues to be. All right, so next one, I think we're just about to the end. So if there's no other slide there, I think the next one might be questions. Does anybody have any questions? There you go. Thank you. Right here. Dr. Dinkins. Dr. Dinkins, yes, sir.
So my question is, a couple questions. We keep talking about growth. As we look at the budget, have there been any conversations about addressing the growth that's coming as it relates to our facility?
Yes. There has. In fact, we just, as a pilot district, We just implemented, states funding it for us. That's one good thing about thinking about states get pilot law program, you know what I pay. Predictive analysis, predictive enrollment analysis. We've put a lot of work, and Sean's been involved, like PICS and, our council, yeah. So all the county, exactly, they've all provided input on this development and this development. What do we see? So we've involved a lot of people in looking at the trajectory of the school district and the growth. So we're still putting a lot of that data in, but y'all, it's like James Bond. I mean, you can take a line and pull it, say, well, you know, how many students is this development likely to produce? Now, we're trying to work out, because we do have charter schools, we do have private schools, so we're trying to work out what is a reasonable ratio to expect in Jasper County School District. So we may not be like the national average, but we're working that out. And so that's going to give us sort of like a crystal ball to say, okay, eventually, when we feel like we're really comfortable with those numbers, we can continue to work with the community leaders in the county to you know, any new developments that are coming in, how's that going to impact the district? And so eventually that'll help us to do staffing projections.
So can I ask two other questions? So with the projects that were approved prior for the two properties that the district has, the Hardeeville and on B Street. First question is, with the changing in development, are there any legalities in using those lands for other purposes other than for early childhood? For instance, if another school needs to be erected, what's the legalities in switching the plan? And
I don't know the answer to that.
Has there been any plans of looking at buying land in other places?
I don't know the answer to that because we're not at maximum capacity, and I think we have to get this predictive enrollment fully implemented. But we can't, I know we can't issue bond debt to build anything until these audits are done. So yeah, I think that's projected way out in the future. So we're having to take first steps first. It's a great question. I don't know the legalities of any of that, so I can't answer what Dr. Hicks
I would think because they had to go to stakeholders to get it approved, they would have to go back to stakeholders to amend it.
Because for the people who don't come, those are the questions that you get.
Right.
What are they doing with the property Beach Street? Can they use it for something else? That's why I'm asking.
Absolutely, yes.
So I can hear you tell them answers.
Right, because I've heard some of those same questions as well. You know, Ridgeland, they have certain athletic things. So I'm hearing the same questions, you know, what about Hardeeville? Why we're not doing whatever in Hardeeville? It's not that we don't want to do those things, but right now, there's a lot of building projects in the bond that was passed in '24, but it's on hold because of the audits. There were 3 audits not completed, so it's all on hold. Now, while it's on hold, growth is still taking place, okay? So, you know, once we start to analyze everything and look at what's exactly happening, how many students are actually coming into Jasper, as Jatana stated, we're looking at, yes, this development will bring in this amount of students, but we also looked at, and Mrs. Shelton went back and pulled some data for us. We looked at the attendance, the enrollment for the county, and then we looked at how many of them are in Jasper. When did the enrollment drop? Because the enrollment was at certain amounts, and then all of a sudden there was a drop. It was because the school opened, one of the private schools. So we have to look at all that, because even though we're projecting an increase in our enrollment, and which Mayor during our meeting brought up this point, how do we have the percentage of how many students have been leaving or selected a different choice? So we have to take all that into account. and Mr. Shelton was able to pull a lot of data. And it showed when the students came in, what happened to their enrollment. Sometimes it goes up a little bit, and then a second school may open, and it dropped again, because you have separate areas. So that is why too, it's so important that the work we do meets the needs of students. We have to make sure our scholars are excelling so that we're competitive.
My question is very general. The predictive analysis that you have access to, predictive enrollment analysis, is there a possibility to be able to make that public so the community can see what the projections are?
Yeah, eventually. Right now, we're still meeting every Tuesday. I'm trying to get it all done, but, and trying to make sure we understand it first. But yes, eventually it will be released. Any additional questions?
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't understand like a lot of projects are like on road stuff. So I would just want to know if they're going to be upgraded Hardeeville Stadium.
Yes, it's in the bond. It's in the 2024 bond. There's a lot of language in in that particular bond regarding Hardeeville. Like a career center, there's a lot in the bond. But right now it's just, but it is in the bond. And that's public information. So there should, we have a copy of it. I don't know if it's posted.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
The 2024 bond, is that posted?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am. The 2021 bond? I know there was a 2004 bond. I'm not sure about the 2021 bond.
The 2020 bond failed.
Okay, that one failed. Okay. Are there any additional? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. In your anticipation for the budget stat marks having the audit, do you anticipate these next 2 to be going quicker? Because you're just, right now you're at a standstill, for you, is it gonna?
I don't know. I don't know what we'll find in there. I would hope, because, at least we've got a better foundation in 22, 23. I would hope that it would go quicker, but the minute I say that, I don't know. And keep in mind that the auditors are having to work us in because they have all these other districts that are on regular schedules and they have to be submitted by December 1st. So they can't pull all the work, and our auditor pool is shrinking. So you have to be on the approved South Carolina Department of Education auditor list for a district to even use them, and it's shrinking. So I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. So to tell you, oh yeah, it's gonna go faster, I really don't know. But that's a great question, and I wish I could say, oh yeah, we're gonna be lightning speed. Keep in mind, we've got 23, well, we're still trying to submit the 22, 23. Just because the trial balance is submitted doesn't mean we're ready to submit it to, when I say submitted, I mean submitted to update it on the Department of Ed system, the federal clearinghouse system. Then we have a lot of reports that have to follow our insight report, our administrative cost reports. There's a lot of things that we have to do, data collection for. So we're still not, we haven't submitted the 22, 23 audit. We submitted the trial balance back in February. So hopefully that's gonna go pretty quick. In fact, if it was up to me, I'd submit it Friday, but I could get whatever else they need to test. So, well, it's been a pleasure to be here with you tonight. Yes, sir.
2 questions. First question, congratulations on getting this done. And in the right direction. As far as the bus driver, the 262,000, is that similar to or comparable to what we had in previous years?
I don't know what you had in previous years, so I couldn't really answer that. I really don't know.
I will say, based on my meeting with bus drivers, They did not get that in previous years.
Okay. And so that's good, okay. And does this still, are there some incentives for like bus driver aides who work to drop our kids off at our like partner sites? Or how does that?
So, in order for drivers or buses to go to additional sites, number one, we have to pay for those additional sites because they have to work with the State Department. They come up with the routes for regular school. If the buses are not full, then we definitely try to partner with community organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, some daycares, those type things. We try to partner with them if the buses are not full, so we can help parents by dropping students off. But our primary goal is, and our primary objective is to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our regular routes first. But when we have space, because it took us a minute to work out the Boys and Girls Club, but we got it worked out. And even to work that out, the buses there's a bus that delivers and then they come back. And while they're waiting to come back, then we also had to pay someone on staff to monitor the students because you can't have students unsupervised. So there's a lot that goes into it, but partnering together, yes, we're willing to do that when we can.
And my last question is, once these numbers are done, like 22, 23, are we able to then go back and see those previous audits or reports?
Oh, yeah, once everything is finalized and the auditors finish all this back and forth that they have to do, then we're required to post it. So post it and share it, so we will be sharing that. So you will know, yeah, so you'll know what the findings were, all that. We'll post it.
Any other questions? Well, I'm gonna.
All right.
Now, thank y'all very much.
So we still have some exciting announcements to make. We're so excited to have our VIPs with us tonight. And that's right, VIPs. I'm gonna ask Dr. Murphy, if you'll come up, please. While she's coming, I just want to say, I had the privilege of attending graduation in Beaufort, TCL, Beaufort, on this past Friday night. And Jasper had 41 students. Yeah. That is huge because I didn't have the mic. Dr. Rodriguez had the mic, and he said during his remarks, his speech, that Beaufort had 40-something students to graduate, that was sitting there graduating. And I'm thinking to myself, if I had the mic, I would let them know that Jasper has 41 students. Okay? And I said that because most of you know the enrollment in Beaufort is a lot higher than the enrollment in Jasper. But guess what? Our scholars here in Jasper, they are doing great things. And some of these individuals graduated with honors. So I was like a proud mama sitting up there. So congratulations again to our scholars. And we wanted to invite you, Dr. Murphy, who does an excellent job with our dual enrollment. Let's give her a round of applause. Keeping up with them, tracking, busting at them, whatever it takes. She does it. So at this time, she's going to come and she'll call the names. And scholars, we would like for you to come up. What's so commendable about this? These scholars, they are graduated from high school but they're also graduating from college the same year. That is commendable. That takes a lot of work because you're trying to finish all your high school requirements and you're meeting the requirements of a certification or an associate degree. That is huge. So we're really excited about the progress. So at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. talking.
Congratulations again, scholars. I can't say candidates anymore because you already graduated. And Dr. Hickson, thank you for the support, but you all did it. I've been working with many of you for at least 3 years now, Ms. Ferguson, maybe 6 years, because this is your second one. So we just want to say, I commend you for everything that you have done. I want to do what TCL didn't do this year. I'm going to call you up for all your accolades. I do want to say this. Those students who have associates have earned at least 60 hours plus their 24 hours for high school. They have over 80 hours. Yeah, please give them a round of applause. Last year we had 17 district-wide. So this year, 41. So keep it up. Also for the students who earn certificates, they've had at least 8 classes. So you're talking about 8 again, plus your high school. So that's about 32 courses, classes that they actually had to make a senior higher. Congratulations. As I call your name, please come up to be recognized, and Dr. Hickson also wants to present you with the gift. Skylar Nicole Badger. An associate in arts, an associate in general education and business, that's 2 associate's degrees. Liberal arts certificate, a university transfer certificate, and a general education certificate. And magna cum laude. So I do want to recognize students even if they're not here. Daniel has earned a criminal justice certificate. We also have Kamari Brown, who's earned a criminal justice certificate. We have Juan Donovan Castro, who's also earned a criminal justice certificate. Angelique Giselle Celestino, she's earned a university transfer certificate and a liberal arts certificate. Jamie Ali Escobar, an associate of science, university transfer certificate, liberal arts certificate, and a general education certificate. Congratulations. Joseph Omari Ferguson. Earned an associate of arts, university transfer certificate, liberal arts certificate, and a general education certificate. Ayana Ged. Ayana has earned an associate of arts, university transfer certificate, liberal arts certification, and a general education certificate as well. Ayana Denise. Brittany, who's not here with us, Jenkins, he has earned a university transfer certificate, liberal arts certification, and general education certificate. Some of our scholars are actually working, so they've done all this on top of balancing working. Eddie Montez Velasquez. Eddie has earned a criminal justice certificate. Congratulations, Eddie. Alexia Jasmine Ivana Nelson. Alexia earned a university transfer certificate and a liberal arts certificate. Congratulations. Alexis Ortega was unable to join us tonight. He's earned a criminal justice certificate. Also, Mariana Niga, she's not with us tonight. She has earned a university transfer certificate, liberal arts certificate, and a criminal justice certificate. Saul Benitez. Has earned a criminal justice certificate. He's beating all the odds. We're so proud of all of them, but Saul, we're very proud of you. Congratulations. Amani Sinai Rivers. Amani has earned a university transfer certificate and a liberal arts certificate. And last but not least, Evelyn Flores. Certificate and a liberal arts certificate. We are very proud of each and every one of you. Thank you for representing Jasper County School District.
Again, let's give it up for our scholars. And I'm going to give the mic over, and I would like for someone to speak on behalf of the scholars.
Good evening. First, I just want to say I'm proud of all my peers. We came a long way. We all grew together. This is a hard accomplishment that many cannot do, but you know, when you stick together and get it done, we thank our parents so much for putting up with us a long, very long time. And we thank everyone for celebrating our accomplishments. Thank you.
Guys, just quickly, each of you will receive a book. It's in your bag. They're looking like a book. But it's one of these books that it has a lot of lessons for life. Because one thing about life, sometimes we start on one pathway, and sometimes we end up having to take a detour. But I say to you, regardless to the pathway that you start, even when you have to detour, get back up and stay the course. Because in life, things will get hard, and you experience some of that because you're graduating with not just your high school diploma, but you're graduating with degrees and or certifications. But with that, just remember, and this book just talks about things to remember in life that just helps life be better. You know, things like breathe. There's some times when you're going to have to just breathe. It says find balance, because you can't just work all the time without some fun. You don't want to stress out. It says be kind. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. Find your passion, because once you find your passion with work, it's not like work. You love doing what you're doing. And then it says dream big. And there are a lot of others, but I just picked a few words. Dream big. Whatever it is that you're planning to accomplish, you can do that. And I would say to you, keep learning, be lifelong learners, continue to, whatever it is you want to do, just know that you can do that. And again, we're so proud of you on behalf of Jasper County School Districts and the entire Jasper community. We commend you and we say congratulations. And again, thank you. Just quickly, a few additional announcements. May 25th, which is Memorial Day, no school. Monday, June 1st is the last day of school, and it's an early dismissal day. Graduation is the Saturday, is that May 30th? Okay, graduation is May 30th, that's you can have that on there. And then we have some summer learning opportunities for our students. We have a third grade reading camp. We have some other academic reading camps. We have a STEM camp where the students are going to be learning about how to fly drones and those type of things. We have a chef that's coming to do a chef camp. We're working on trying to get robotics. So the goal is to keep our scholars engaged the entire summer. We want them to continue to learn so that we don't have those, that summer slide and that, learning loss. Back to school parent conference, we're planning a back to school parent conference, which will be July 25th from 9 to 1. And are there any additional announcements from anyone? All right, again, thank you so much for coming. We're also looking at partnering with some partners for some camps. Tell me the name, again, the name of the camp itself. Miss Murray. No. Mr. Lawyer and.
You have a Dr. Family Life Center camp. We are Boys and Girls Club, Kingdom Destiny Center is having their camp, and then we're looking at Boeing and Mercedes-Benz that has summer education programs. So we're looking at.
So we're partnered with community partners as well, just to make sure students are engaged in learning. Agape with Dr. Young, she sent me an email. They are going to have their programs going as well, because the more we can keep students engaged, the less they're going to get into things that they don't need to get into. So let us find as many camps. My team, they know we're looking for as many camps as possible to engage students in. Because they're going to learn. It's going to just be a win-win for everyone. Yes.
Oh, sorry. They're Richland Tigers, also bringing back the athletic program to Richland. They have the Hardeeville Little League program, but now we also have it in Richland this summer. So
Yes.
They will be training camps and cheerleading camps for the kids too.
Awesome. And even our ROTC, our sheriff department, they're doing a DARE camp this summer as well. That starts July, I think it starts July.
The 8th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
June 8th is in July.
June 8th through July. So there's a number of camps that we're going to involve students in. Again, thank you so much for coming. Please do not leave without eating. They have a really nice salad bar set up. So please do not leave without getting something to eat. Thank you again. Have a great evening.